Derek's world had collapsed into a haze of worry and fear since his daughter Amber had disappeared a week ago. Each passing day felt like a lifetime, and the police, despite their best efforts, had found no clues to her whereabouts. It was as if she had vanished into thin air, leaving Derek to wrestle with the nightmare of not knowing where she was or if she was safe. Derek was determined to find Amber. He left his house that morning with a heavy heart and headed towards the police station. His mind was a whirlwind of anxiety, cycling through memories of Amber's laughter and their life together, contrasting sharply with the grim reality of her absence. As he walked, every step felt like an eternity, the weight of his worry pressing down on him. Entering the police station, Derek was greeted by the officer handling Amber's case. The officer offered a sympathetic smile, but it did little to ease Derek's anxiety. "Any news?" Derek asked, his voice strained with desperation. The officer shook his head gently. "Derek, as soon as we know something, we will inform you immediately." Derek sighed deeply. "It's been a week, and nothing at all." "We understand it's hard for you. That's why we're doing everything possible to find Amber," the officer replied, trying to offer some comfort. "I worry about her," Derek said, his eyes showing the fear he felt inside. "We all worry when a child goes missing," the policeman said. "The best thing you can do now is to stay home, in case she returns." Derek nodded slowly. "All right, thank you," he said quietly, then turned to leave the police station. Instead of heading straight home, Derek decided to take a longer route to clear his head. He walked through the city streets, trying to make sense of everything that had happened, but his mind kept circling back to Amber. Suddenly, he saw a homeless woman carrying a very familiar bag. Derek's heart skipped a beat. He took a closer look and realized what it was. It was Amber's backpack. Derek approached the woman, trying to keep calm. "Excuse me, where did you get this backpack?" he asked, his voice shaking a little. "None of your damn business," the woman snapped, clutching the bag tightly. "Please, I don't want to trouble you, but this is my missing daughter's backpack. If you could tell me where you got it, I would be very grateful," Derek pleaded. The woman eyed him suspiciously, but finally muttered, "Found it at the bus station. Some teenage girl left it behind." Derek felt a glimmer of hope. "Do you know where she was headed?" he asked eagerly. "Am I a detective?" the woman retorted, clearly annoyed. Derek realized he wasn't going to get more information for free. "All right, can you give it to me? I'll pay you," he said, pulling out his wallet and taking a $100 bill from it. The woman's eyes widened at the sight of the money. She snatched the bill from Derek's hand and gave him the backpack. Then she hurried away, probably to make sure Derek didn't change his mind and take the money back. Derek sat on the nearest bench and opened the backpack with trembling hands. Inside, he found almost nothing, just a water bottle and a folded piece of paper. His heart pounded as he unfolded the paper, hoping for a clue. It was an address with "Hostess Family" written under it. Derek quickly pulled out his phone and entered the address. His eyes widened when he realized it was in another city. The same city where Amber had wanted to go to a concert with her friend. He had not allowed her to go, fearing it was unsafe. A wave of guilt washed over him. Had his refusal driven her away? Derek knew he had to act fast. He couldn't wait for the police to move at their pace. He decided to go there immediately and figure everything out himself. Clutching the backpack, he hurried back to his car. He returned home but didn't even go inside. He went straight to his car and drove to the address he found in the backpack. As he drove, he decided to call Amber's friend Claire to ask if they had gone to the concert after all. Claire had initially told him they'd decided not to go, but now he needed to know the truth. He dialed her number, his hands gripping the steering wheel tightly. Claire picked up after a few rings. "Claire, Did you lie to me when you said you and Amber didn't go to the concert? Derek asked, trying to stay calm. What? No. Why would you think that? Claire's voice sounded confused. I found Amber's backpack, and there was an address in it. It's in the city where the concert was supposed to take place. Do you understand that Amber might be in danger? You need to tell the truth, Derek said firmly. Claire sighed heavily. I didn't go to the concert because my parents didn't let me, but Amber said she would go anyway. She asked me to swear I wouldn't tell anyone. Do you understand how foolish that was on your part? The police are looking for Amber, Derek said, his frustration growing. I wanted to say something when she didn't come back for 3 days, but then I got scared that I would get in trouble for keeping quiet for so long, Claire admitted, her voice trembling. Never mind that now. Do you know where Amber is? Derek asked, hoping for any useful information. No, she isn't answering me either. I haven't heard from her since she left, Claire said sadly. All right, thank you, Claire, Derek said, his voice softening. He hung up the phone and focused on the road ahead. If Amber had gone to the concert, she would have come back by now. But she was still missing, which meant something had happened to her. Derek's heart raced as he drove, the hours passing in a blur. Finally, he reached the address from the backpack. He got out of the car, approached the door, and knocked firmly. Moments later, a pleasant woman opened the door, her smile warm and welcoming. Sorry to bother you, but is Amber here? Derek asked, his voice filled with hope. Amber? I don't know anyone by that name, the woman replied, looking puzzled. A teenage girl was supposed to come to you a week ago to stay, Derek explained. Oh, right. But she never arrived, the woman said, nodding in understanding. You haven't seen her at all? Derek asked, his heart sinking. No, sorry, the woman said, shaking her head. Got it, thank you, Derek said, trying to hide his disappointment. The woman nodded and gently closed the door. Derek stood there for a moment, feeling lost. He returned to his car, feeling despair wash over him. He had lost the last clue to finding his daughter. After sitting in the car for a while, Derek finally started the engine and began the drive home. His thoughts were a whirlwind of worry and frustration. As he passed through the town, he suddenly saw someone he never expected to see again. His ex-wife, Amber's mother, sitting in a cafe. Derek's heart skipped a beat. Could Amber have come to see her mother instead of going to the concert? It was a long shot, but he had to find out. Derek parked the car and took a deep breath, trying to steady his nerves. He approached Miranda, who looked up in surprise as he neared. Derek? I didn't expect to see you here, Miranda said in surprise, her eyes wide. Did Amber come to see you? Derek asked, skipping any small talk. What? No. Why would she? Miranda said, glancing around nervously. She ran away from home a week ago. Since then, she hasn't been in touch and left no trace, Derek explained, his voice tight with worry. That's terrible. I'm sorry, Miranda said, her tone flat. Derek felt a surge of frustration and was about to leave when he suddenly noticed an inhaler in Miranda's bag. It looked exactly like the one Amber used. Without thinking, Derek reached for it. Miranda tried to stop him, but he managed to grab it. Where did you get this? Derek asked, holding up the inhaler. Derek, I can explain, Miranda stammered, her face pale. Where did you get my daughter's inhaler? Derek yelled, his anger boiling over. Because she's here. All right, no need to yell at me, Miranda confessed, her voice sharp. Why didn't you say anything? Derek demanded, his voice trembling with rage. Because I knew you would be against it, Miranda replied, looking away. Don't worry, I was going to send her back home as soon as my mom signed the will. She said she would sign it as soon as I had a child. Amber is my only child, and I'm not planning on having any others, so I needed her just for this. As soon as Mom signs the will, Amber can go back home. I'm tired of playing Mom. "Mom," came a tearful voice behind them. Derek and Miranda turned to see Amber standing there, tears streaming down her face. She had heard everything. "Amber, I didn't mean it like that," Miranda said quickly, reaching out to her daughter. But Amber wasn't listening. She bolted, and Derek ran after her, still holding the inhaler in his hand. Panic surged through him as he chased her, fearing she might disappear again. He found Amber sitting on a bench, crying with her face in her hands. Derek's heart ached at the sight. He approached her slowly, then sat down beside her and gently hugged her. "Amber, I'm so sorry," he whispered. "I should have never come to her. I thought she wanted me, but she only needed me to get her way," Amber sobbed. "Your mom and I had our differences, but that doesn't mean we don't care about you. I should have been more open with you. I was just worried about your safety," Derek said, his voice filled with regret. Amber wiped her tears and looked at her father. "I thought I could handle it, but I was wrong. I shouldn't have run away." "We all make mistakes, Amber. The important thing is that you're safe now. Let's go home," Derek said, standing up and offering his hand. Amber hesitated for a moment, then took his hand. As they walked back to the car, Derek tried to lighten the mood. "You know, you're grounded for 2 weeks for running away," he said, trying to smile. Amber managed a small smile through her tears. "Fair enough, but only if you promise to let me go to the next concert." Derek laughed, relieved to see her smile again. "Deal, but we go together." They drove home, the tension between them easing with each passing mile. Amber leaned her head against the window, watching the city lights blur as they drove. Derek glanced at her, feeling a mix of relief and sadness. He knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but he was determined to rebuild their bond and keep her safe. As they pulled into their driveway, Derek turned to Amber. "We'll get through this together, okay?" Amber nodded, her eyes filled with trust. "Okay, Dad." They walked into the house, the warmth and familiarity of home wrapping around them like a comforting blanket. Derek knew there would be challenges ahead, but for now, he was just grateful to have his daughter back. He would do everything in his power to ensure she never felt the need to run away again. Together, they would face whatever came their way, stronger than ever before.